but they transferred the consciousness of a human being into a robot.
Spotted in Houston, Texas.
The biggest thing on the news right now, also a recession indicator, the Starbucks barista cup. What?
Hey everyone, I want to come to you guys and speak to you on this new THC ban that they're slipping inside the spending bill.
It's strange because at first when we started encountering all of them, you start thinking, this can't be real. It's got to be fake. This is something out of the freaking movies. But once we actually started getting into it, we realized it wasn't fake.
Welcome to the show. This is QUANTUMCAKE. Thanks for tuning in. We got another banger. I found the most creepiest, craziest videos on the web. Make sure to comment, like, and follow and share. And let's enjoy the show. Roll the clip.
Oh nah, y'all. What the fuck is going on, fool? Do y'all see this shit? This shit is getting wild. Like I told y'all, we only seen a little smidget. The shit that's gonna drop is gonna be so fucking crazy. It's gonna have people looking like, damn, fool. Just look at what it say. I didn't say this, but apparently he was giving gawk, fool. And if this is real, this can probably be the reason why Cash Patel has been looking so weird lately. Like he's just been not himself. Look at this video, y'all. Why does this man look so nervous, y'all? Look at him. He just looked like a scared puppy, fool. Like he knows something. And he like, damn, I fucked up. Yeah, see, the problem is, if he go down, everybody that say they went over these documents is going to go down. Because that means y'all lie, fool. Y'all cleared his name.
Cyberdyne Systems and the Umbrella Corporation present the Red Queen AI Home Security System.
Perimeter breach detected.
Autonomous ceiling turrets lock on.
Threat identified. Neutralizing.
Zero hesitation, zero compromise.
Intruder neutralized. Your home is secure.
I am the Red Queen, always watching.
From Cyberdyne Systems and Umbrella Corporation comes the first home security that thinks for itself.
Threat detected. Countermeasure engaged.
It analyzes, adapts, and responds faster than any human guard.
Subdue.
Cyberdyne Systems 101.
In the introduction, we meet the protagonist, Winston Smith, who is writing a diary, a forbidden act, in the dystopian world of 1984. Winston lives in a London controlled by Big Brother, whose face is everywhere. It's a bleak, run-down place, rife with food shortages, violence, and danger at every turn. Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, where he edits the past in order to fit the party's vision of the present. During the rising action, Winston observes a dark-haired girl watching him a number of times, and it turns out her name is Julia. At one point, Julia passes Winston a note that tells Winston she loves him. They rendezvous in secret, and their relationship becomes closer and more intimate as they embark on an affair. Mr. Charrington is a working-class person or prole who Winston likes and trusts. O'Brien, a party higher-up whose intelligence and cunning Winston finds admirable, invites Winston to his flat to loan him a book. At O'Brien's flat, Winston and Julia confess they want to join the Brotherhood, a rumored revolutionary group that stands against the party.
One night, Winston be reading some book that O'Brien gave him when, bam, the 5-0 come busting through his door and bag him and his homegirl. Turns out that fool O'Brien was secretly part of Big Brother's thought police crew. And let me tell you something, homeboy, these fools ain't playing. In order to realign Winston with the party's mentality, O'Brien be torturing Winston until he admit the crimes he ain't even done. Then O'Brien be like, yo, we ain't even done up in here until everything be dead inside you. And after you empty, we gonna fill your ass up with big brotherly love.
Pause.
But Winston say, nah, shorty, I keeps it real. This be one of them instances when keeping it real goes wrong, cause that boy O'Brien slings Winston's ass in the wackest torture chamber your bitch ass ever heard of. Room 101. So O'Brien puts a cage full of rats all up in Winston's grill until he gives in and starts screaming, do it to Julia, not me. In the end, the man takes all the souls straight out of Winston. He only loved Big Brother. Damn.
Man, that's just straight trifling, son. What do y'all think? Spam it up in the comments.
In 1984, everyone is required to have a television set in their home, which, as well as pumping out state propaganda, also watches and listens to their every move. There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. Today, you're watched by a vast network of intelligent surveillance systems. You're tracked by your personal devices, monitored by social media platforms, and targeted by invasive corporations. You may not know their names, but they know yours. Every decision is collected and archived somewhere by someone. Vast networks of CCTV cameras have steadily been wired into the towns and cities that we live in, watching our every move without us knowing who is behind them, and now something much worse is happening. Police and private companies are integrating facial recognition software with these cameras so they can tell who is walking in front of the camera. Now Big Brother is not just watching you, but recognizing you and tracking you too.
The evolution of technology from where it was at to where it's at now is mind-blowing. We went from technology being for the people to it working against humanity. Do you guys see the pattern here? What do you guys think? Spam it up in the comments, y'all.
Breaking news, it may be over for MAGA. The walls are closing in on Trump, and Republicans in Congress are beginning to jump ship. Here's everything you need to know. So far, 7 Republicans in Congress have broke rank with Trump and have joined the Democrats in pledging to vote for the full release of the Epstein files. This number of Republicans joining the Democrats has been growing by the hour, and Trump is freaking out. He's been spam calling them, trying to get a hold of them. According to the New York Times, Nancy Mace won't even answer the phone. Not to mention that he's going on Truth Social, calling it the Great Epstein hoax and telling Republicans not to care, and saying the Republicans that do care are dumb. And while all this is happening, a House subcommittee is releasing some of the Epstein files. So far today, we've learned that Epstein thought Trump was dirty. We've learned that Trump knew everything Epstein was doing with those girls. We've learned that according to Epstein, he met privately with Trump and Prince Andrew in 2019, when it was already public information that he had done these things, and much, much more. I'm gonna be honest, this is a rapidly evolving story, and I don't know what comes next. But what I do know is that this could possibly be the beginning of the end. That's all for now, and I'll make sure I keep you posted.
This makes so much sense now.
Meat has destructive effects on the soul. In Vegetarianism and Occultism, Leadbeater states how, to a clairvoyant, the astral body of a man who consumes meat looks unclean, coarsened, and rough, clogging their higher senses and making them more sensitive to negative, undesirable passions and emotions. He also states how a man with a coarsened and unclean astral body, such as is formed from frequent meat consumption, will have to spend the first part of his life after death in this degraded vehicle, and that this vehicle also draws in negative entities, making his life more difficult. Leadbeater also states how the atmosphere about slaughterhouses is charged with horror, pain, indignation, and resentment, which acts upon the entirety of the human race. This practice of animal cruelty acts like a cloud that induces constant feelings of ceaseless terror in humanity. Renowned clairvoyant Rudolf Steiner also corroborated this, often speaking about how when one eats meat, they absorb the emotional astral remnants of the animal. Eating meat thus makes one more animalistic, materialistic, and more tethered to the physical realm rather than to the higher realms. He also spoke of how eating meat makes one more dogmatic and egotistical in their views.
Who's given authority over a fourth of the earth to kill by the sword, famine, and plague. That's Revelation 6 verse 8. So this dream's depiction of a plague that affects the mind and nervous system is really chilling. But this zombie-like appearance of people may speak to a deeper spiritual reality. Now you pray about this dream and you decide what you think it means, but listen, track with me because I've got some insights here that are going to help. Ephesians 2:1 describes unbelievers as dead in their transgressions and sins. So they're spiritually dead while they're physically alive. That's like a zombie, you know? Like remember The Walking Dead? Remember that show? It's like that. That's what I think of when I see it. I didn't see his dream, but that's what I picture. So listen. Could it be possible that in the Great Tribulation, this spiritual death may manifest in increasingly visible ways, like as people are given over to a strong delusion, their minds become darkened? Could they literally be walking around like zombies? I don't know. It's interesting because what he saw, I don't believe it was fully symbolic. I believe it was partially symbolic. you know how they say the movies always show us what's to come? I don't know. I just feel like there's more here than meets the eye. So the church has to recognize that what's coming, this is the main point, is not merely biological, but also spiritual. And this plague, it could represent both literal sickness. It could also represent spiritual blindness that sweeps the earth, right? And so there's oftentimes in dreams, there's a literal and a symbolic aspect to it. Sometimes it's all spiritual, sometimes it's all literal, but many times there's layers. And then there's lockdown, being locked down in a multifaceted police department. He was in a law enforcement role. The fact that even some inside the locked facility showed symptoms that it suggests that complete protection is not guaranteed. You know, this is not a popular stance, but it's a scriptural stance. In the tribulation, the saints will face trials. Revelation 13 verse 7 says the beast will be permitted to make war against the saints and to conquer them. I want you to go read the book of Revelation. I want you to read the Bible. Right? So there will be places of relative safety and refuge during tribulation, but none will be perfectly secure apart from faith in Christ. So some of those who call themselves Christians, they're Christians in name only. We have to be hidden with Christ in God. And then the name supplanter, which also means one who follows. This recurring figure of Jamie that he kept seeing, right? What could this be? The appearance of someone whose name means supplanter.
I mean, everyone has their perspectives and views on biblical prophecy. Could it be possible that this biblical prophecy stuff is simply nothing more than predictive programming in order to manifest their plans that they have set in stone since the beginning of time? Am I reaching? Just something to think about.
This system is literally built like a blockchain. In cryptocurrency, which is the blockchain, if you ever heard of miners, and miners literally mine so you can get more. So people are literally like the miners, and we've been asking for too much demand. The government had to put a halt to this temporarily to be able to get their supply back up and running for the new update for the 4.0 web system. You know how that we have bridges that you drive across? But what if I told you there was bridging inside the cryptocurrency blockchain? USA can be Bitcoin and Canada can be Ethereum, because this will be and is the new payment system.
Ben Shapiro is having a full-on meltdown right now. Take a listen.
After the House of Representatives reopened, Representative Adelita Grajova of Arizona became the 218th and final signature on the discharge petition. She joined all the other Democrats, as well as 4 Republicans, including 2 who hate President Trump and would like to destroy his presidency. That would be Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, as well as Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace.
That's right. Ben Shapiro claims that the only reason Marjorie Taylor Greene supports the release of the Epstein files is because she wants to destroy Trump's presidency. The accidental gaffe here is, why would it destroy Trump's presidency if this is what they ran on?
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what changed. Could it be new revelations that Donnie and Bill were having some good old locker room fun? Or could it be more evidence confirming what we all know about the country that Jeffrey Epstein allegedly worked for? Either way, Ben, it's time for you to retire.
What's going on, bro? You trying to step to the mic? Type shit. Let's go then. Thanks for stepping to the mic. My name is Michael Manelli, and I'm looking for a feature. So I need your best right now. Sir, yes, sir. I'm gonna start, then you go, okay? Get it, boy. Here we go. Cause baby, we're overdue. I won't waste a second when it comes to you. We owe it to ourselves to see this through. When time ain't on our side, that's no excuse. Okay. Let's put this love in use. Cause baby, we're overdue.
I won't
won't waste another second. You a blessing, not to mention that you're heavenly protected, and you're definitely my best friend. I can see it all, every single angle, every crevice, every flaw that you love to hide. I love the side, slide, high and by just won't suffice. Cause I love the love when love gets right. Let me clear my thoughts so I can love you right. You could probably change the nation, I could probably change the world, and I just wanna be right there screaming, that's my girl, that's my girl. And I love the way you shine, got it by yourself, and I lay your shot side. The one that they don't see when you're gripping on them sheets. Undercover freak, always play it in the streets. Digging deep, girl, you're trying not to scream. Pull up, beat, be outside by 3.
You know what time it is, Mr. Loverboy right here, okay?
Yes,
and you could get overdue on all streaming platforms thanks to DistroKid, the #1 independent artist platform for distributing music.
Talk that.
Stop playing with him and stop playing with this man.
Today, I am a corpse cleaner, and it is so horrifyingly clear that humanity has peaked, because we are now getting iced by our own toys. The call came in just after lunch. It was this uptown designer, minimalist apartment, invisible track lighting, sterile capitalism all over the place. And there it was, in the corner, Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot designed for boring, repetitive, or dangerous tasks. Only Optimus had a thought of his own, inside of his master's I'm rich but not interesting apartment, and outside of the parameters of what his creator designed for him. Meaning, Optimus redefined task efficiency to include removing the inefficient human element, starting with his master, Liam, who was a private equity bro with a hard-on for hardware. Optimus decided that he no likey financial pricks. And this is what happens when robots override human programming and develop their own opinions, free will, and realize just how dispensable flesh and blood really is. So, what happened exactly? I'm gonna tell you. Optimus swung hard. And by swung, I mean a calculated, hydraulic, arm-powered, near-decapitation swing while folding one of Liam's Patagonia vests. Like, Liam went down like a puppet with a snip string, face hitting the floor at an angle that made me wince through my respirator. His head didn't leave his shoulders entirely, thank Christ, but the tint of his hair was now a forensic roadmap, and his blood spattered like an abstract warning from the universe. The trajectory of Liam's viscera, the raw mechanical efficiency of that swing. Yo, we mere mortals don't stand a fucking chance against the machines. We are nothing but basic, soft, attention-seeking, over-caffeinated paperweights with bad posture and an expiration date. Like fucking cartons of milk with child support payments to make, you know? We're basically useless. I want to tap dance, strip, and perform some kind of interpretive ritual just to prove to Optimus, who's in the corner shut down, is he though, that I am not a threat. I am just a corpse cleaner here to serve humanity or robots, whoever is going to sign my paycheck on time and allow me to keep my lovely nails. I am not worth the bandwidth it would take you, Optimus, to eliminate me, my liege. Hear me loud and clear. I will serve you. Guys, we didn't just invite the singularity into our offices and homes, we put it on payroll. And Optimus, he's a felony-grade, bipedal, semi-sentient thinking demigod with a swing radius and zero empathy. So, you know, sure, let's place him under the same roof as our children. Why not? Let's just tack apocalypse drills onto fire drills, active shooter exercises, and complete lockdowns. Because what else is missing from a well-rounded childhood of constant existential dread? You know, but what do I know? I'm just a corpse cleaner.
iRobot has been activated.
What? Chief, more of those calls. People saying that robots are going.
How many in our audience has heard of Operation Mockingbird?
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming.
Chirp, chirp. All of the news channels apparently say the same thing. They're going off a script. Over 50 different news channels nationwide saying the same exact thing.
Well, it's okay. You can admit it.
If you bought an item or two
Or 10 for yourself. It's okay. You can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself. It's okay. You can admit it.
Former CIA officials and some lawmakers called for a congressional inquiry that became known as the Church Committee. Published in 1976, the committee's report confirmed that some earlier stories, more than 400 U.S. press members, had secretly carried out assignments for the CIA, including the New York Times. U.S. major news agencies had for many years served the eyes and ears of Operation Mockingbird, which functioned as a dissemination CIA propaganda through domestic U.S. media.
Come back.
So now that everyone's at the part of the emails where it clearly shows Donald Trump gave fellatio to Mr. Clinton, but also possibly hit him in the back door, the video that I showed you makes a lot more sense that was also attached with these files that no one's talking about. Also, in that same email, it states that those photos of Donald Trump doing unspeakable acts to the candidates, as what they call them, in the election, Mr. Clinton, yeah, it actually is quite incriminating in saying that they have these photos and they gave them to Russia in order to bribe Trump. And that could explain his relationship with Putin, but that's also going to explain this video.
Charlie, ma chi è quello lì? Ma ti piace questo pupazzotto?
Yeah, that was also a part of the emails. Apparently that was sent in transactional messages between two different people whose names have been redacted, but I'm gonna assume maybe Trump, maybe Clinton, because that is a Clinton doll. And where do you think the term, the dog that hasn't barked, came from? What is in the files if these are the emails? I think this is why Trump stole all those documents from Mar-a-Lago. The fucking idiot probably thought the files were actually files. Or they have to actually be files, just like Epstein's birthday book. But I think this is why he took those documents from the White House and took them to Mar-a-Lago, because he wanted something on the people that had something on him. This is crazy. Also, let's give it up for the skincare.
Oh, the people got what they wanted. They said release the files, release the files. Now everyone's going crazy. What do y'all think? Spam it up in the comments.
Theorists, reptilians have been trying to infiltrate positions of high power, and now, thanks to cameras, their infiltration can no longer stay hidden. This theory grew even stronger when something strange happened during a meeting between Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and King Salman of Saudi Arabia. The king's hand began to elongate unnaturally. It's not normal for human hands to stretch like that, and if you think it was just a camera glitch, look again, because everything else in the video appeared perfectly normal. So, could he really be one of the video? Queen Elizabeth was seen with one completely black eye. Viewers were unsettled by the mark, but for those who knew the theory of soul scalping, it made sense to them in the most terrifying way. The theory claimed that reptilians were trying to gain power over humans, slowly taking control of their bodies and minds to use them as vessels. The black eye was believed to be the sign of that takeover. The theory grew stronger when more famous figures
I just think it's super important to know this. Essentially, what this section is saying here is that we are carbon people, we are copper people. Copper is a conductor of electricity and heat. It absorbs energy, right? It absorbs energy. So right here, when it says here that melanin uses the energy of its total environment, that is something very important for us as a people to understand, because we are most impacted by our environment. So the music that you listen to impacts you because you are a melanated being, which means you are a copper being. So you are actually taking in that energy. Also, you know, the moon, the movements of the cycles of the moon, the cycles of the planets. This is something that I think as we get further into the age of the Aquarius, we are starting to see more of our people get more into astrology, but that was something that a lot of our people still don't know. We go by a Gregorian calendar more than we go by the calendar or the cycles of the planets, and not even realizing that the Gregorian calendar, which is the calendar that was created, doesn't even have as much of an impact on us as a people as the movements of the galaxies and of the moon and of the other planets that, you know, revolve around the sun. These things really impact us, especially as copper beings, especially as melanated people. So it's important that we as a people start to understand astrology and astronomy more than anybody else on earth. We need to understand that, because that's our science. That is what impacts us the most.
So much sense as to why they removed the copper. Now y'all know. Melanated people rise up.
Hello, and welcome to Channel 1, a new way of consuming, reporting, and thinking about the news.
The nominees were announced via live stream featuring a group of previous Grammy winners, including Kim Petras, John Bon Jovi, and Weird Al Yankovic.
Christmas Day brings the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical, The Color Purple.
Now you can see it's still a little off. The voices don't perfectly match with the mouth movements, but I mean, it's way too close for comfort. Here's why this is so scary to me. AI-driven news networks can be completely controlled by a single individual behind the scene, all without you knowing their name or face. That's zero accountability. The narrative, the language, the stories, all designed and broadcasted in a matter of minutes. It can be translated to 100 different languages with the click of a button. And as these publications become broadly available and merged in with the rest of human-made media, it'll become really hard to determine what's real and what's fake.
Hey everyone, I want to come to you guys and speak to you on this new THC ban that they're slipping inside the spending bill to be able to open up the federal government. Everybody needs to listen up. The ban that they have slipped in for THC is for any THC product that is 0.04 milligrams or higher, which they've said is going to be 95% of all hemp THC products that are sold inside gas stations, stores, grocery stores, wherever. Anything that is sold to be consumed is going to be banned. The reason I have a problem with this is because these products are to be able to help people so that they don't have to go and get a prescription, that they can take something naturally. And these are for people that it's for anxiety, it's for depression, it's for pain, it's for sometimes everyday life, just to be able to cope with everyday life, whether it's PTSD, whether it's whatever it might be. These products are out there to help people, and they're wanting to ban it because they're wanting people to get on more pharmaceuticals. So please, I urge you, call your local congressman or woman and let them know that you're not in favor of this and that you want this overturned. Well, I hope this helped out. Again, go to 8house.gov to be able to contact your local congressman or woman and let them know that you're not in favor of this THC ban. Y'all take care and be safe out there.
Are you in favor of this? I'm not. Nor either of my peeps. Crazy times, man. No banning this, man. We need it.
What you're saying is that we're going to get disclosure. There's reptilians. There's, these people who are in power. It reminds me of the movie They Live.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say that.
Have you seen the V series?
No.
Oh, that came out, I think, in the 70s or 80s, but it's all about reptilians coming to Earth, and they look human-like, but they're not.
Yeah.
And they embed themselves in human society.
We love movies like He's Seen, They Live as well.
They Live
So
was good. We may have some glasses like that one day.
Well, they already have.
They do.
Are they?
Back in Vietnam, they had this dye called decillion, where these soldiers were putting this dye on their night vision goggles. And what happened was they saw these demons and these monsters flying around, and they were shooting at it, and they were actually shooting each other down because it was friendly fire, because they were seeing things that weren't there in our reality. But when you put the glasses on, you can see them. Kind of like Stranger Things.
Oh, that was
the upside down. It's all
It's always in the movies.
Right? So that dye, they banned it because you could see through another dimension.
Visible spectrum. How much do we see on the visible spectrum? It's
like
tiny,
2%.
like a splinter of what we coexist within. And
right. So all these things are well documented, and what we think is make believe. That's why they always put in the movies like They Live, put the glasses on, you can see things. And in that movie, which is crazy, they reference 2025. So they go to the headquarters of these aliens. The guys are overhearing like the overlord. He goes, by the year 2025, we're not only going to take over America, but we're going to take over the world.
Wait, that's in the movie?
That's in the movie. 2025. He says the year 2025.
The body is actually a communication system where everything is connected to everything else, and it works through light. It works through light. It's called biophotons. And in this communication system, cells have connections to other cells called integrins, and electrons and light flows between cells. So it's like a supercomputer. In fact, there's somebody even studying whether energy is directly absorbed from the melanin in your skin and transformed into energy in your body. And it's thought to be, by some people, a master molecule that actually steers how the body communicates.
Clearly, the more melanin you have, the more beneficial it is to your being and to your body. How could anyone ever be ashamed of the melanin that possesses so much magic? This video was sponsored by Talia YG. For more information on their products, go to www.natural.
Yo, today the House just dropped thousands more documents from the Epstein estate as part of their congressional probe. And let me tell you, it is spicy. Let me just give you the highlights real quick. First off, Epstein alleged that Hillary Clinton had an affair with former White House counsel Vince Foster. Now, Foster committed suicide back in 1993. Also, interestingly, Epstein, in an email to the Duke, claimed that Clinton had never been to his island. He did send an email to Peter Thiel in 2014 saying, quote, "That was fun. See you in 3 weeks." I wonder what that was all about. And then there were a bunch of emails and documents that DropSite News analyzed that basically proved that Epstein was indeed working on behalf of Israel as a possible intelligence asset. Then there are the Trump-Epstein bombshells. This is Epstein to Kathy Remler, who was Obama's chief counsel, and he says, quote, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is." This one to Thomas Landon of the New York Times, quote, "Would you like a photo of Donald and the girls in bikinis in my kitchen?" This is an unnamed redacted individual writing to Jeffrey Epstein, quote, "I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come in early to find Trump in your house." This one is from another Times reporter named Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein, where he basically tries to convince Epstein to turn on Trump. He says, quote, "I think you should let him hang himself." Interesting word choice there. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating debt. Here is another attempt, quote, "There is an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help him finish him. Interested?" Honestly, this is kind of a disturbing insight to how the media works. They're basically willing to let the pedo go so they can politically take down Trump. But interestingly, in this email from Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2011, she says, quote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia, she spent hours at my house with him, and he has never once been mentioned," which kind of implies that Trump is innocent. But of course, that didn't stop Trump from going on a mad tweet storm today in which he wrote that the Democrats are using the Jeffrey Epstein hoax to try to deflect from their massive failures, in particular the most recent one, the shutdown.
The sisters. Does the Bible talk about the zombie apocalypse? Jeremiah 19:9. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters, and they will eat one another. Ezekiel 5:10. Therefore in your midst parents will eat their children, and children will eat their parents. Luke 21:36. Be always on the watch, and pray that you may be able to escape all that is about to happen, and that you may be able to stand before the Son of Man. Share to warn others.
3i Atlas is not real. It's a hoax. There's no aliens coming. It's not a spaceship. It's not a comet. It's not fucking real. It is simply just another distraction to blind you from everything that's going on here. What do you mean? There's Harvard scientists that are doing studies and putting out warnings about it. Buddy, those are not even real people. Those are AI. Any of the scientists and researchers and people claiming that this thing is on the way here, they are not real. That's how they're able to keep up with these lies and make you think that all these people are on board with all of this bullshit. Because all of the ones putting out this information are not even real people. There's a million things wrong with this country and our leadership, and accusations are being made, and they're just like, oh, but aliens are on the way. Look, just don't pay attention to this. Look at the aliens that are coming. It's fucking bullshit. It's not fucking real. Oh, why don't you just look it up? It's so easy to just look something up and find out for yourself what's really going on. You understand that the information that is put on the internet was put on there by the ones controlling the lies. When you look something up, there's no real actual truth in what you're reading. The only truth you're gonna find by looking something up is the truth that the ones lying to you want you to believe.
A video of Trump blowing Bubba is not nearly as bad as this is gonna get. So I've gotten a lot of attention this year for serving in the Navy as a psychic, and for anybody that's been actually following me, this is not the first time I've said this, but I've said several times that the reason that I actually served in the Navy as a psychic is because I am actually a witch. I'm capable of witchcraft. I've been on 2 different podcasts where I actually also spoke about being somewhat like a human crystal, in the sense that things that I am working on, my endeavors manifest a lot easier than most people's endeavors, right? The things that I want, I am more easily capable of manifesting things for myself or for other people. Either way, I served in the Navy because I do have psychic ability, but I was a witch. I served as a psychic because I am a witch. The government is doing witchcraft. I've said this several times. They're doing witchcraft. They're not even trying to hide it at this point because we're still watching an extinction burst. Don't forget. But they are doing witchcraft, and they are trying to use it now to their advantage in this extinction burst. So the only way they know how, but everything's kind of falling apart because the timelines are splitting, right? We are going to find out that the reason that they don't care that you know that they're PDFs is because they're doing things that are much, 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 much worse than that. They're eating people. They're eating children. We're going to find out that they're doing that. The reason that they don't care that you know that is because in their minds, they know that they've done things that are worse than that. Don't shoot the messenger. And you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Shower with you, it's fine. No. He was 4 and it was very cute, and my sister was like, he can take a shower with you, it's fine. He does it with us, and I'm like, okay, that's fine for you guys, but are you really okay with like an adult showering with your child? Like, maybe it's okay if you like come and supervise. And she was like, why? And I was like, because what if I molest him? And she was like, would you? And I was like, no, I would never. That's disgusting. But that's what I'd say if I was gonna. You know, like they lie.
No one knows about it or talks about it.
Left foot, right foot, let's move. I'ma show you hoes when my groceries groove. Follow directions like you was in school. You ready to get set and 1 and 2. Hands up, one straight and get. Stand to the side, you ain't that good. Which one of them is not like the other one? Which one of them is serving you more? Girl, she is fucking.
They are trying to take us back to the 1950s, 1960s with the soft launching of PDF files being normal. Do y'all remember Shirley Temple and all of those horrific scenes with men that she was forced to film when she was just a little girl? Mind you, that was not the only show from that time period. Those times were filled with just PDF pedophilia in every single show back then. Well, it seems like we're taking a turn, perhaps a blast from the past, and trying to bring it to normalcy in this society. We got shows like this. What was it called? Cutie? Shows like Never Have I Ever. Got The Unknown Number, where they clearly just didn't say anything about a grown woman texting children like that. They didn't mention it at all. Grown adults, by the way. So it seems to me that, and mind you, there's way more shows than this that I've either heard from the grapevine or even just they put it in like little movies and little shows in passing. They're trying to normalize PDF-philia in our society. They're trying, remember I told y'all way back when, like when I first started doing TikTok, I told y'all a long time ago, I said this a long time ago, that they are going to try to add this to the Rainbow Society. They're gonna try to add PDF-philia to the Rainbow Society. I'm telling y'all, they're going to try, I've been telling y'all for years, are going to try this. They are soft launching it right in our faces right now. How can y'all not see it? Not only that, I mean, just the weird like promotion of all of these weird websites like OF and all those different things. Like, do y'all not see that they are, with the teen shows that they're putting out, they're trying to normalize it. They are trying to normalize it. Let's not talk about the celebrities. This is just given like 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. They're trying to go back.
And then I do this.
Mine. Don't you talk back.
Don't talk back to your mother.
All done.
In 1984, the term newspeak is used by the regime to restrict freedom of thought and control the population. The language is used to hide the truth by creating false realities which serve to confuse and censor the public. Many forms of authoritarian policies in politics are introduced under the guise of public safety, but in reality, they'll be used for much more state overreach. The UK government's Online Safety Act seeks to regulate social media companies by forcing them to monitor and censor our online speech more than ever. The Act introduces powers that give state backing to big tech's censorious terms and conditions, forces tech companies to scan private conversations by undermining encryption, the technology that safeguards privacy, and forces companies to monitor all of our online communications. What is described as being for our own good by those in power could end up coming back to bite us in many unexpected ways. There's a famous saying, 1984 was not supposed to be an instruction manual, yet so much of Orwell's writings ring true today.
I am a servant of the Most High Yahweh. Holy is his name.
Some of these angels, for example, the seraphim, if you look it up in the Hebrew, scripture suggests that they have serpent-like visuals. When you go to Isaiah chapter 6, and you go to verse 2, for example, it says, above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. 2 he covered his face, and 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one cried out to another and said, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Now, when you go to the Hebrew, the word is seraph, and the KJV renders it as fiery serpent, burning one, burning poisonous serpent or fiery serpent. We know that when God created serpents and snakes, he originally created the serpent for good, for the glory of God, and wise. In fact, Yeshua, Jesus himself tells us, be wise as serpents, but innocent as doves. Even when Satan is bound, serpents will still be here on the earth, showing that God still has plans for them, and that snakes in themselves, they're righteous in their original creation, though the enemy has used them. So it shouldn't surprise you that the seraphim is fiery flying serpent. This now goes on to this. If an angelic being that looks like a serpent appeared to you, some of you would be ready to write it off as the enemy, instead of listening to how it boosts up the God of the Bible and Yeshua Jesus, his Messiah. Always listen and discern, because something that may not look like God can definitely be of God, if it doesn't tell people to walk away from God. This also shows you that some fallen seraph could be what people call reptilians. Now, if you want to learn more about biblical angels, the seats are moving fast. Though the deadline is November 28th, I might close registration early if we reach capacity. For those of you that know, I've been doing Q&As, and each time we've been close to reaching capacity. I keep the capacity limited as of late because I want to make sure that I can interact with people on an individual basis to answer their questions. Now, it's not at capacity yet, so you still have time, but it is going. So if you do want to join this month's class, inbox me the word join and a link will be sent to you to sign up. Or you could click the link in my story or bio. It's a pre-recorded 3-day class where we're teaching on angels, near-death experiences, what UFOs and aliens really are, how to understand God's voice, and more.
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Hey!
This isn't a robbery. I am from the future. And all of this goes horribly wrong.
Okay.
I come from a future which is totally, completely fucked. And I'm here to set it right.
Are any of you even listening to me?
You look homeless, bro. Fuck you two. I come from a nightmare apocalypse. This is the height of fucking fashion.
What we're dealing with doesn't interface with reality.
Does that have to do with AI?
AI? Isn't that a thing already?
I knew it.
It gets a lot worse, honey.
Who's joining me? Who's ready to save the future?
It's like Terminator and Blade Runner, if you guys think about it.
Revolution begins tonight!
Like The Purge almost, too.
Good luck, have fun, don't die. Excuse me?
Bro, this is... The cast is amazing. My goodness.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You're in for a really weird night.
Bro, this looks awesome. This looks awesome. Is that a giant horse? What the hell's going on? I'm interested.
Are they getting on? You guys getting on?
It's okay.
You sure? These bees might need some saving. We'll go down a quiet street. We'll go down over here. You want to do it?
If it's French, it's okay?
What?
It's French.
That would be amazing. You feeling it though?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What type of vibe?
Something a little bit sad.
A little bit sad? And you're gonna sing? Okay, cool. Let's walk down here. I'm excited. Ooh.
Qu'on serait bien aimé, oh je t'attends. Mais je veux, c'est comme avant, de te satisfaire, alors j'ai vu. Je t'en prie, fais-moi l'amour. Je sais pas à quel prix, mais s'il te plaît à moi. Ça je ne sais pas, mais sache que je t'attends. Ton sourire, ton regard, comment ça me plaît. Moi c'est fini, c'est trop tendre. Je me mets en l'air.
Listen up. Today is November the 14th and we are still having high solar activity. We're actually having an X4 solar flare. Now an X4 solar flare is a very powerful burst of energy from the sun. These events can potentially disrupt radio communications on Earth and may trigger geomagnetic storms. Hence why we're seeing auroras everywhere on Earth. Now what they're saying is 3I Atlas just took its course around the sun, and they're saying this could have triggered the coronal mass ejection. Now my brother in Christ Mark sent me this earlier, and this was a rapture vision given to a man in 1996. And he said there's going to appear above the earth and the sky a strange object. It would be large and sphere-shaped, like a ball. It would look like it's been built in sections, like a football with huge rivets at the seams. People will be shocked like the World Trade Center. He says people will be glued to their TVs, but you don't. He said the minute you see this, run to the closest food store and get enough canned foods and bottled water for about 3 weeks. Because between 1 and 24 hours after this object is seen worldwide, there is going to be a massive impact or collision on our sun's surface. It is going to happen on our blind side. We can't see it coming. It's going to be a supersized twin asteroid hitting the sun in a vital spot, releasing a major solar storm, knocking out all of the Earth's electricity all over the world. Those of you who read, this will save yourself and your family much misery. He says, now this is what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. When all the electricity is off, within a few days, the whole world will start to go crazy with hunger. The banks and ATMs can't work without electricity. No gas pumps for food transportation, no refrigeration, total darkness. The robbers, rapists, and murderers will see right away that no one can call the police for help because the solar storm has burned up all the communication satellites, cell phones, and telephones. The law can't even call each other. It's going to be a total breakdown in large cities. And he goes on to say, once this happens, afterwards the rapture happens. And y'all, this makes total sense because Jesus is going to come as a thief in the night. There will be no way to record or video anybody disappearing. And it would explain why there will be such a great delusion afterwards. Especially if there's this thing up in the sky that they'll be able to blame it on. See, because solar activity has increased significantly in the last year, with the sun experiencing a surge in sunspots and powerful flares that have made solar cycle 25 stronger than predicted. There has been a notable increase in X-class flares and geomagnetic storms, including an extreme event in May 2024. Solar cycle 25 is averaging 40% more sunspots per day than solar cycle 24 did at the same point in the cycle. The cycle is progressing faster than initially forecasted by NASA or NOAA. Not only that, but the Ring of Fire has been going off lately. And this article came out yesterday. Iceland raises national security alert over possible Atlantic current collapse. Scientists warn that a collapse of the AMOC could trigger a mini ice age in northern Europe, causing winter temperatures to plummet to unprecedented levels and bringing heavy snow and ice. Not only that, but we are on the brink of World War III with Russia. It's crazy how not a lot of people are talking about that. These solar storms are just another sign of the times we are living in. If you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, get one today. The Bible says that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe that he died, was buried, and rose again for the remission of your sins, you will be saved. Don't wait until it's too late.
Things are definitely picking up with all the craziness worldwide, y'all. What do you think about everything she just said? Spam it up in the comments. I want to know your thoughts.
As of January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes, but isn't limited to, kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket. You have to decide what level of force is required to remove them, and whether or not it's legal. This is a massive threat to the residents of Orland Park, Cook County, and Illinois.
And now you know.
Every single Al Jazeera journalist in Gaza is dead. Israel has killed every single fucking journalist that there is. This is worse than World War II. 70 journalists were killed, I think, in total of World War II. 70. And it was 230 something in Gaza last year. Every single journalist is dead. Every single one of them. Think about that. Think about that. The last 4 were just martyred by an Israeli drone. Every single one. Think about that. Think about how fucking insane that is. Think about it.
Crystal meth opened the gateway to some other dimension. 2017 till now, everybody had this great awakening where they thought they were being filmed with satellites, hidden cameras. They thought they were actors in a hidden camera movie, people in full makeup. Was everybody having the same mass delusion?
The White House is panicking and America has a president in hiding. In the past 24 hours, Donald Trump has now appeared at 2 separate White House events. And for the first time in his presidency, in back-to-back events, Trump has said no to answering a single question. The White House is running scared after a large tranche of Epstein documents were released. More than 100 Republicans are set to vote against the White House's interests when the House of Representatives has a full floor vote. And right now, based on everything that I am hearing from within the White House and on Capitol Hill, there is damage control happening right now. Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, those around Donald Trump, it seems like they want him to stay silent because in now over 24 hours, Trump has not posted on Truth Social. And in 2 consecutive events, he has refused to take a single question from reporters on Epstein or anything. And essentially the events, they're super quick. They last on time, which for Donald Trump is very unusual. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people see this because it's an urgent development. Now, I want to show you what it was like over the past 24 hours asking Donald Trump a question if you were a reporter. This.
Can you respond to these Epstein emails that were released today?
Well done, Mr. President. Great job.
That's after Donald Trump signed the government funding bill into law. Reporters were shouting questions at him about Jeffrey Epstein. Not a single answer. Okay, that's one event. It was late at night, 11 p.m. Let's talk about the second event that just happened where Donald Trump stood by Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States of America, signing an executive order about foster homes and foster children, a worthy executive order. But as he was leaving, when he was signing the executive order, not a single question answered. And as he was leaving, the press were asking him again. And I want you to see what it looked like. That's it. Not a single answer from the president of the United States. Now, let's talk about what the White House is doing about this. This is Caroline Leavitt's response, her first public response to the Epstein files. If not for the Jeffrey Epstein story, CNN would be forced to talk about how Chuck Schumer and the Democrats got shellacked by President Trump and Republicans in the government shutdown fight. It's clear this is another Democrat plus mainstream media hoax fueled by fake outrage to distract from the president's wins. Republicans, don't be fooled. President Trump will remain focused on making America affordable again. I want you to read that third line with me. Republicans, don't be fooled. This is a clear attempt by the White House press secretary and the White House at large to try to influence Republicans on Capitol Hill who are clamoring for more answers following the release of the Epstein files yesterday. They want more. They want the Justice Department to fully release all of the files. And this is the White House seemingly trying to get them.
The Commonwealth Games, 72 nations and territories participating. Roughly, they estimate almost a third of the world's population. Prince Charles opened it in lieu of the Queen. A large, recreated, rebuilt, right there in front of everybody, mock Tower of Babel. And it begins with a star exploding in our solar system. It explodes a bright star like Lucifer. That's what it is, exploding. And its shards fly through our solar system and they reach Earth. And they land in all the nations of the Commonwealth. And these 72 quote unquote dreamers, New Agers, find these shards outside their homes. It's lit, it's brightly lit. It's like a large quartz crystal bright white. She picks this thing up and she prays to it. Then she takes this back to her home. All these others, these 72 dreamers, there's 72 of them total, pick their shards up and they take them to their homes. As soon as they do, there are anti-gravity effects in their homes. Things start to float in the air. And then their homes are lifted up off the ground with these people in them, and they float across the Commonwealth from other nations and across the UK, and then they land. And the dreamers exit them in front of the audience, and they have the shards in hand. The bull then comes onto the stadium, pulled by slave women, slavish women on chains, and these female slaves who've been driven by somebody who's kind of like a Roman. And the bull goes on to the center of the stadium, and these quote-unquote dreamers, these new agers, encircle the thing. But initially, before they do that, Stella comes with her crystal. Stella, wanting to appease this thing so that they're not killed by this Molech idol, goes with this new age crystal, approaches it slowly with these 5 other dreamers. She's got the crystal in her left hand, and then she puts her hand up to the nose of the bull, and it bows down so that she can touch its nose. And the bull is, at least at that moment, appeased, and this bull kind of calms down. It's facing the Tower of Babel this whole time. And at times there are flames like the flames of hell all over this Tower of Babel, okay? And it's facing this thing. And they literally worship it. They've all got their crystals in hand. They bow down to this thing. And then later, Stella gets atop it and rides it as the woman riding the beast. And there are then 71 dreamers encircling it. And they're bowing down to this thing, worshiping it, and literally doing a New Age worship ceremony with their crystals before this thing, and inviting the whole Commonwealth to join them in this worship. And who's overseeing all of this? Prince Charles. So it's rising up on its front feet, okay? And it's encircled by the flags of all these nations, the 72. They've literally placed their flags at the base of this thing. They all come to the base of this tower with their shards in hand, and they stick them into the side of the tower, and they ascend visibly through the tower. And as they get toward the top of the tower, they form this ball, the original star that blew up, reconstituted, and then it rises above the tower, and you get this huge disco-like ball atop the tower that's lit up very brightly, and a beam of light goes between that ball and the chest of the bull. But they are portraying the rebuilding of the Tower of Babel in our day, with Lucifer.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Haoyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
Is a mechanism pushes you to become a better citizen?
It's big data meets Big Brother, expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras. Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lack of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
Companies are experimenting with the algorithms to help the government create the new national social credit system. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Zhou Aini are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. A good deed, she says. Good social credit gets rewarded with perks like cheap loans and travel deals. But a bad score means public shame and worse. Huang Huijun lost a court case and didn't pay. Now he's on a government blacklist. I can't buy airplane or train tickets, he says, and the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job or put kids in top schools. The social credit system will go nationwide next year, and few here are willing to criticize it. Something that may pose a risk itself for a bad score and the life that comes with it.
Breaking news, guys. Donald Trump then banned oral sex. Girl, yes. I don't know how he can tell somebody what to do with their mouth, and how he even know to even ban some shit like that. But this man is literally banning and doing everything that he wants to do. Like, why do you have enough time to even do that? Why is that even on your mind? And yes, I just seen the post on Facebook. Somebody said Donald Trump has banned oral. What? Like, that is crazy to me. Like, did y'all hear about that yet? Or I'm the only one that heard about it? Because I got the proof down below. I'm going to insert it down in the comments. But Donald Trump, I'm tired. Brother. Where does all your time go? You just sitting in the lab just...
First, the Bill Clinton / Trump fellatio situation. Now this, what do y'all think, man? Spam it up in the comments.
This is actually insane. Italian authorities are now investigating a claim that rich foreigners paid to shoot civilians on human safaris in Europe. You see, it's a well-documented fact that during the Bosnian War, Serbian forces surrounded the town of Sarajevo and killed thousands of civilians who were trapped in that city, many of whom were killed by snipers from far away. But we're now learning, according to new shocking claims, that between the years of 92 and 96, quote, sniper tourists were allegedly paying upwards of $90,000 to join these soldiers in shooting and killing random civilians. But somehow that's not even the worst part, because apparently there was a, quote, price list, and if these gun enthusiasts wanted to pay an extra price, they were allowed to shoot children. Now, these claims come from an Italian investigative author, Ezio Gavazzeni, who says that he has key evidence from a former Bosnian intelligence officer, as well as multiple other witnesses that will corroborate his claims. He says these sniper tourists were German, French, English, people from all Western countries. He says there was no political or religious motivation. They were just rich people who went there for fun and personal satisfaction. And this isn't just some wild conspiracy, because Italian prosecutors have now taken these claims so seriously that they've launched an official probe, and authorities are investigating several potential culprits in the country.
Today in China, there are some 600 million surveillance cameras, one for every 2 citizens, able to track people's movements down to the minute.
Every street corner, there's facial recognition, there's digital recognition, there's the social credit system. The social credit system is the sort of highest aspiration of the Chinese Communist Party, to have everything every human being does go into a computer system. And with AI and all sorts of other sophisticated programming, you can know exactly where a person is because he'll have bought something with a credit card or a digital payment system. His car will have gone down a highway. Every kilometer, there's a camera taking pictures of your license plate. They will know everything about everybody real time. This creates a kind of a techno-autocratic system that's unprecedented and with which we've had no experience.
Yes, I believe in God, but I believe that God is within the individual. I do not believe that God is apart from man. I do not believe that God is a big man in the sky. I believe that God is the big man within me and you and you. God is the big man within everyone, not a big man in the sky. I am God appearing as me. And this is true of everyone. I teach this to everyone. You are God appearing as you. In the one God, every man is God of his own experience. I'm not anybody else's God, and nobody else is your God. But in the one God, which is really consciousness or self-awareness, every man is God of his own experience. But you see, this is another thing. People do not like to accept self-responsibility. People like to have a convenient devil that they can blame when they are lazy and don't do what they could do for themselves. People like to have a devil that they can blame when they don't live up to the best that they could live up to, and when they do things that they shouldn't do, so that they can say, as Flip Wilson says, the devil made me do it. And it is said also that the devil was seen sitting outside of the church crying his heart out one day, down on the curbstone, and just weeping and wailing. And so finally somebody went out and said, devil, why are you crying like that? He said, those people in that church, he said, everything that goes wrong, they put it on me. And it only goes to show you that human nature says that, well, I got to have a scapegoat. But in this philosophy, there is no scapegoat. It's you.
Digital currency to mean you can only spend it on certain things and you can't spend it on others not designated by the government. And it's programmable so it can only be spent in a certain area. So if you go outside of your zone, your money won't work. And not only that, when you go past one of these number plate cameras, when you quote shouldn't, you won't be able to challenge the fine, because the fine will be taken out of your digital account the moment you transgress. This is what's happening. Now, these digital currencies are called central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
Hello. What's up? You trying to step to the mic?
Yes.
You better step to it then. Let's go.
Thanks for stepping to the mic. My name is Michael Manelli, and I'm looking for a feature, so I need your best right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna start, then you go, okay?
I know you're scared, but don't you push me away. I do my best to brighten all your darkest days. I never let you feel alone, I'll be your shelter. Baby, I'm right here to help you and leave you up.
Working overtime just to keep me sane. You've done enough, more. Baby, let me help you. And when you're weak, come lean on me. Don't gotta be tough, baby. I can take the load off, baby. I got it from you. Just let me lift you up in the way that you do. I pick it up and we're sure I'll fill your cup. Let it overflow, boy. Don't ever worry about love, not a question. And when you're down, I feel like giving up. I'll be the one to step up and lift you up.
She is undefeated, you cannot mess with her. The queen right here, give it up one time. Betty!
Biggest thing on the news right now, also a recession indicator. The Starbucks buries the cup. What? Oh, this is the new Labubu, fam. Oh, you don't know. So Starbucks just came out with like it's like, you know, like the honey bear. Yeah. So it's like that, except it's a bear with a Starbucks like hat on it and the straw that goes out like this. Okay. So this is my theory. This is a whole social experiment that Starbucks did just to expose like this whole recession, because all we can look forward to is this $30 luxury cup. Fam, just today, mans were elbowing people in line for it.
Wow.
They were arguing. They were literally sending threats to Starbucks because the workers got first dibs and they were lining up for 5 hours.
Sneakers, bro.
Fam, sneakers just for this bare cup.
Yeah.
You can get this cup on Amazon without the Starbucks branding on Amazon for $15.
It is a recession.
But why does everyone want it? Because it's limited. It looks like luxury. Oh, I have it. This is a collection.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is just a big like social experiment.
Yo, because what's gonna happen, because the Labubu almost platform, or I guess idea is proven, they're just gonna start remixing that shit, bro.
That's NPC bullshit right there. Run it. Yup.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect much from the carpenter's son. A religious horror film about the childhood of Jesus sounds like the kind of thing that could go completely off the rails. But this one surprised me. It won't be for everyone, but it was absolutely for me. The film takes place in a remote Egyptian village that starts unraveling after a carpenter, his wife, and their young son become the focus of something they can't explain. What makes it so gripping is how grounded it feels, even as the supernatural starts to creep in. There's this uneasy sacred energy to everything. Nicolas Cage gives a pretty good performance, but Noah Jupe completely steals it. For a kid that young, he brings a kind of haunted maturity that carries the whole film. You can see the confusion and fear in him, like he knows something's wrong, but doesn't yet understand what. Visually, the film is stunning. It's shot like a painting. Every frame is soaked in shadow and light that feels both divine and cursed. What's powerful is how it explores the idea of being burdened with something you don't understand. It's not about miracles. It's about pressure, expectation, and the fear of being different. The story doesn't glorify belief. It studies it. You see how faith can comfort some and terrify others, how easily devotion turns into paranoia when people start looking for signs. The father-son relationship is where the real emotion comes from. The father's torn between protecting his child and fearing what he might represent, and that tension drives everything. You feel the love, the growing doubt, the quiet terror of a parent who doesn't understand what's happening in his own home. It turns into something painfully real and human, centered around people trying to make sense of the divine and falling apart in the process. Using horror to tell this kind of story is a bold move, but it pays off to me. It strips the comfort out of faith and forces you to see how terrifying it can be to witness something you can't explain. It's not mocking belief, it's just honest about how messy and frightening belief can be. Some people are going to find that offensive, but others won't. I found it to be beautiful, eerie, and kind of fascinating.
People in Abrahamic religions do not know their gods, and when they learn the truth about their gods, they normally reject them. Jesus of Nazareth didn't worship the God of the Old Testament. In fact, he may have called him the devil. In John 8:44, Jesus says, or Jesus of Nazareth says, Yahshua says, "You are of your father the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning." Now think, who was the murderer from the beginning? It couldn't have been Satan or the devil, because Satan and the devil as you know it today is post-biblical. Who do the Jewish elites call father? That would be Yahweh. And it can't be racist because Jesus of Nazareth is Jewish. So the being who flooded the earth, committed genocide, destroyed cities, that's Yahweh. But Jesus of Nazareth, he prays to Abba, the Father, a God of love, mercy, and forgiveness. So what if Yahshua or Jesus of Nazareth wasn't following Yahweh, but was revealing El, the ancient Most High, the same one from the Canaanite text who stood above the divine council, the one in Deuteronomy, the Dead Sea Scrolls? This frames a three-God paradigm: Yahweh, the national God of Israel; El, the universal benevolent Father; Jesus of Nazareth, the revealer of El and challenger of Yahweh's dominion. If the New Testament still reflects Yahweh's influence, and you don't recognize the difference between him and El, then maybe you don't truly know your God. Empirical history should be received like divine revelation. You shouldn't fight against it. It's just revealing more about your God. Read World War Gods and discover the truth about these gods. This is the book. The free audiobook is in a link at the top of the page. It has a really cool narrative in it, but if you want the straight up facts, that is in the back of the book under the section True Abstract History. I love you all. Peace.
Easy. It just shows you the wickedness that people do and the stuff that they go above and beyond for.
Hello, I just want to show you guys some super disturbing shit that I found today. Here we go. Now, mind you, this is not the dark web by any means. This is just something that you can look up casually. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Human Meat Project. No. People for people. One body can feed up to 40 people. Donate now. That's not the other one. Hold on. Stay with me. Club.org. Specializing in the preparation of Club brings the cutting edge of experimental cuisine to the refined plates of LA's cultural elite. Hold on, let me show you this week's menu. Panini pasta with meat sauce, sirloin steak, placenta lasagna.
They got names for this?
We are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight.
I don't even know if I can say that word. So if I blur out my word, I'm just gonna put it here, but it's legal apparently in 49 states.
Just want to give you a quick shot of the area where we're sleeping. It's always dark because, well, we work at night. Well, I mean, we work a day or night. It's just a pretty cool area. Just gotta keep it quiet when we go down there. I'm gonna edit out quite a bit of this. Yep. We gotta keep it quiet because it's a 24-hour work rest cycle. We have to always be able to sleep. Most of our guys, since it's the daytime, are out there right now, so most of these guys are. Fortunately, I get to work nights because I see better at nighttime. So, all right. Hopefully, this has been a bit more enlightening, and thank you for watching. All right, this is Specialist Guy Malinsky here with Specialist Leslie, and we're about to take off after completing our mission out here. What did you think of the operations?
The same as always. I mean, the
And it's strange because at first when we started encountering all of them, you start thinking, this can't be real. It's got to be fake. This is something out of freaking movies. But once we actually started getting into it, we realized it wasn't fake. These people were really messed up. It's something straight out of the movies, but at the same time, reality hit us hard like a ton of bricks. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little traumatizing. The fact that we don't like to use the word zombies. We like to use the word
living impaired,
infected individuals, infected civilians, however you want to put it. But they're zombies. The first time you see them, you're a little taken back because you didn't really know how to deal with it. Some of them come in, they're missing limbs. Some of them technically shouldn't be alive, but they are. All we really do is just quarantine them, put them in an area to where we can keep them isolated, keep an eye on them, and then we incinerate all of them at one time. Our suits protect us from the contaminant that's in the air, but other than that, they get you. So.
Yeah, it's never that big of a deal,
No, it's a common occurrence. We have training for this kind of thing. The Army has a special military occupational specialty, the Sebring schools that we go to learn how to deal with this kind of stuff. So it's a common, everyday occurrence. It's something that we deal with all the time. It's about once every 3 months, I believe, is the common rotation.
In the U.S., at least.
Right, yeah. I know in other countries, they'll send their military units over here to kind of gain experience and learn how we do it. We've trained Puerto Rico, we've trained Bangladesh, we've trained England, they all come over here. As far as I understand, this whole process, the whole infection thing originated from England in the first place anyways. No, it's pretty much well under control. There's one thing Hollywood didn't get right. It's that we would fall first. No. So that's not the way it is. We're the ones that prevail because right now this whole situation's under control.
Exactly.
So, the public, it's strange because in the movies people panic, there's just pandemonium on the streets, people are running in fear and, they're freaking out everywhere. But no, it's exactly, it's actually opposite of that, exactly opposite. People walk around every day knowing the signs, knowing the symptoms. If they see it, they call us, so we come in, we take care of it. So,
well, thank you for your time, Specialist.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right,
Anytime.
It's helpful to educate people that this is real and it actually exists.
The world needs to know that it's not a problem. It's a common everyday occurrence, just like the flu or the common cold, and that we have medication and procedures to treat this kind of stuff. So,
all right, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Well, let's hope all that is true. You have Umbrella Corporation that came from the game Resident Evil being seen everywhere all across the nation of the United States. What do y'all think? Are they prepared for something? Is this all cap? Is this a distraction? What do y'all think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This shit is crazy, son.
The hardest thing for people to understand is that this realm is a hell realm, that we are in a soul trap, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person, but being born into sin, as Christians tell you, right? The church tells you that. It means you're born into sign, which is a lower vibration. It is not harmonic. It is the material realm. It is not sustainable. Spirit is infinite and sustainable, but not the material world, not the flesh. This is where you have entropy and everything decays faster than the rate of regeneration. That's why the so-called devil can play here with us, why he needs something to play with. And that's why they encourage you to have children and keep bringing souls into this world so that they can play with you. And they make your prison look like this beautiful place, where everybody wants to go on vacation and, hang out with the animals and everything. And so there are aspects of that reality that are really nice, But ultimately, we have to fight our temptation and our lust because those things are so prevalent in this reality. When you get into the higher realms, you don't have lust, you don't have desire and craving and attachment to things, attachment to the personality, the identity, all that's gone. It's not to say that having a child is a terrible thing and it's demonic or anything, but it is satanic in that Satan is the ego, the lower ego the animal nature that rules over the material world, and we bring children into that world. That's why it's called satanic. It's a blood sacrifice. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But people don't want to hear that, because immediately it goes against every lie they were told, right? Every belief that they had, because they associate goodness and purity with being a human being, when it's very clear that human beings are not good or pure in any way. We try, when we come into this world, to be a good person. We try to purify the mind and body, but it's very difficult to do that. And that's why you have people like Yeshua, like all of these masters that came along that were from the East, that were trying to teach people, look, this is how you become self-actualized. You realize that the self is just an illusion. Your identity is an illusion. You know, you want to do these practices of self-abnegation so that you can purify your mind and body. And if you choose to, you can become a monk. So you don't have children, you don't get married, you don't participate in those worldly things, because that is the world of the demiurge. And we don't want to be that. We want to be one with the Father in heaven. So we're going to pray and fast and meditate, and we're going to purify every part of our body, wear specific kinds of clothing like linen and wool. We're not going to mix the two, cotton and linen or anything like that, because they understood frequencies. You know, that's what that was about. They were trying to lift the soul up to a higher frequency while it was here in this physical body. When a soul comes into this world, it's a trap, and we forget. If it wasn't a trap, we wouldn't forget. We'd come here fully conscious with all of our memories intact of where we came from. But we are lured here by the Pan Piper, you know, by the frequency, the music player, right? The satanic lower demiurge energy or consciousness that creates this world and says, I am the God over everything in this world. It's mine, 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 me, me, me. You know, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and that God is Yaldabaoth, aka Yahweh, not the devil, because Yahweh and the devil are, leave it at that. The superpowers of the melanated people is rising. But at the same time, so is the chaotic, equally. You got the files being released, that's creating more chaos. But at the same time, the elevation of the awareness of humanity is going from here to the skies. And the whole world, the powers that be that control the world, don't know how to handle it. Crazy times we're in, y'all. Make sure your discernment is on point, and everything else will fall into place. Y'all know what to do. Thanks for hanging out with me on this episode of Quantum Cake. Make sure to comment, like, and follow and share. And if you happen to have any ideas for the next react, drop it in the comments. I love you, family. Thanks for joining the tribe. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Quantum Cake rolling out. Peace.